whether the team is performing clean or unsightly. We'll cover it all here on Washington Football Nightly. I, of course, am your host, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Let's get to tonight's lead story. First and foremost, Merry Christmas to each and every single one of you out there. From me and mine to you and yours, Merry Christmas. Hope your day is full of love, laughter, and cheer. That being said, we're going to start the show off talking about something we've talked about quite a bit this week, in particular at one position, that's practice and the quarterback position. So this week we've gone into the week thinking, kind of don't really know what's going to happen. We had the Dwayne Haskins debacle early in the week, kind of set the tone for what has been the talk of the week is the quarterback position. But, you know, put that aside, we really just care about who's starting this week. You know, yesterday on the episode and even the day before that, I said, look, we need Dwayne Haskins if we're going to win the NFC East. And even with the news today that Alex Smith reportedly had a full go at practice today, and the reason I put the word full in air quotations is because we really don't know what practice consisted of today. It's Christmas. Ron said it himself yesterday. It's going to be an abbreviated practice. They're going to get in, get out, and anything that they miss, most of it Zoom meeting wise, they're going to make up on Saturday. So who knows what the actual agenda was, what they did at practice, how long of a practice it was. Was it a real practice day for them on Friday, being that it was Christmas? So who knows what full participant actually means for Alex Smith. Whatever the case may be, you're getting it from all major outlets. Jay Glazer of Fox Sports, Ian Rappaport of NFL Network, and Adam Schefter all reported the same thing of ESPN, that Alex Smith was a full go at practice today and that he is questionable for the game on Sunday versus the Carolina Panthers. Now, that's actually great news. It's the best news we've gotten all week on the quarterback front in terms of Alex Smith. My thought process has been, and it kind of still remains, I don't think he's going to play. However, this is a step in the right direction if, in fact, he is to start. Now, I still have my doubts. I told you I don't know what full participant today actually means. I hope it means they had a real practice today. It was the similar length that it usually is. And Alex participated how he would have had he been healthy, and he looked no worse for the wear. Now, again, Rivera has stressed this all season long at every single position. When you're injured and you practice, the real tell is how you respond to your practice the next day. How your injury responds. Is there swelling? Is there soreness? How do you feel that next day is really going to determine how they try to push the envelope in the upcoming game. So, obviously, Saturday is going to be huge as to how Alex feels. And Sunday will also be huge because he could feel fine Saturday, wake up Sunday, calf muscles tight again, and he's out. I don't really know what to make of this situation. I've said this all along. If Alex is healthy, that's the guy I want in there. If he's not healthy, if we even get the sense that this is the Alex that showed up compromised against San Francisco, just put Dwayne in the game. That's the way I feel. And, you know, this is the thing I hate about this situation is if Alex is actually healthy, he feels good, but he gets off to a slow start, you're going to get all the put Dwayne in chance. I don't really want that. The only reason I want Dwayne to enter this game is because Alex physically can't do it. He feels like he's hurting his team more so than helping. And he did a great job of saying that against San Francisco. He could have tried to gut it out, but he said, look, I can't go. I'm hurting this team. And he was in the first half of that game. He was hurting us. He wasn't helping us. Dwayne came in. He wasn't great, but we got the win. So we'll see what happens. I'm encouraged by him practicing today on whatever basis it was. They say it's full. The team reported that it was full. Everybody else is reporting that it was full. That's great news. They'll reevaluate him tomorrow to see how he feels, how he responds to practicing a full day's work, essentially, and we'll go from there. Hopefully, the calf responds well, he's able to go on Sunday, and he's able to help us hopefully bring home the NFC East crown if the Ravens take care of business versus the Giants at 1 p.m. So it's a fascinating dynamic because, again, if Alex isn't able to go, we're going to have to turn to number 7. He's gotten reps this week. So I feel comfortable, whomever plays, that we are in a position to do what it is we need to do to bring home what is rightfully ours, and that's the NFC East crown in 2020. So I want it to be Alex. I want him to be healthy. And I think this is a massive game. And I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. I'm going to be nervous as hell. I'm going to be so nervous. I'm talking about biting fingernails, edge of my seat. I'm going to be a nervous wreck during this game because of what it means. And speaking of which, that's a perfect segue into in other news. So obviously Christmas Day, you're not getting anybody stepping up to the podium. No Rivera, no assistant coach, which is what you would usually get on a Friday. Last week we got the special teams coordinator, Kazar. We're not getting any of that today, obviously, for obvious reasons. So, but I do have some other things to talk about, and there was some clarity brought to my doorstep, so I'm going to then pass it on to you guys, and some of you already may have known this, and I misspoke the other day when I talked about Antonio Gandy Golden, a rookie 4th round pick out of Liberty, who has been on IR for quite some time with a hamstring injury. I want to say it's been since the first time we played the Giants that he went on IR with the hammy, and we haven't seen him since. And so what are you talking, week 7 or 8? I mean, the Giants the first time around, they were right before the Cowboys the first time around, I believe. So if that is in fact correct, the Cowboys were week 7. That would make that Giants game week 6, if I'm not mistaken. Might have been Cowboys was week 8. They were week 7. I think they were week 7 because after that game, the Giants were 0-5 coming into that game. They beat us. They were 1-5. I think they were 1. They might have been 1. They might have been 0-6, and that made them 1-6. And I think that game dropped us to 1 and. I think we both left that game at 1-6, actually. I believe that is in fact the case. We beat the Cowboys, got to 2. No, we were 1-5 after that game. The Giants came into that game at 0-6. We both left that game at 1-6. No, I don't think that's the case either because we were 2. I feel like we were 2-5 after we beat Dallas going into our bye week. Really, we were 2-5 if I'm not mistaken. You come out of the bye, you lose to the Giants. Then you lose to Detroit. Yeah, we were 2-5 going into the bye week after beating Dallas. So we came into that game at 1-4, and we lost and went to 1-5. They came into that game at 0-5 and they won, and we were both 1-5 leaving that game. So got that straightened out. But we haven't seen him since so that would make that week 6. We haven't seen AGG since week 6. It's week 16. Okay. If I'm not mistaken, I might have my games mixed up. He might have been back after that. That seems like a really long time. 10 weeks. He hasn't been gone for 10 weeks. I remember him early in that game coming up lame with the hammy against the Giants and not coming back. It's got to be that game. It just feels like, has it really been 10 weeks? Has it really been that long since we've seen Antonio Gandy Golden? It doesn't feel like it's been that long, but maybe it has been that long. It's been a while, but 10 weeks, it seems a little excessive. I'm going to say that it's 10 weeks. I'm going to trust my instincts and my memory. Memory serves me correct. I remember the play he came out. It was in the Meadowlands versus the Giants. So I'm just going to say week 6, we have a chance to see him for the first time since week 16. Now, as I mentioned to you, I gave you some misinformation yesterday or 2 days ago, whenever I said this, that if they didn't activate him by Sunday's game, so Saturday, that he was going to be on IR for the remainder of the season. That is not true. So he started practicing on December 10th. So with the rules in place right now, when a guy practices for the first time that is on IR, you then have a window of 21 days or 3 weeks to then activate that player. We've talked about that. And thus, if December 10th was the first day that he returned from IR to practice, not to be activated, but just to practice, they've then got 21 days from that point, meaning they've got until the end of December, so approximately December 31st, to make a decision on Antonio Gandy Golden as to whether to, reactivate him off of IR and make him a part of this football team, or to just say your season's done, we'll see you next year. So right now, Ron continues to tell us that this guy looks good in practice. The first week it was, hey, he has to get his wind under him. The second week is, hey, he needs to catch up to speed. Now we're getting into that danger zone where if he doesn't become activated this week, and Ron talked about it yesterday, said that, that's a decision they'll make, on Saturday this week, essentially. If he's not active this week, I mean, at this point, do you really think he's going to be coming back? And, maybe they want all hands on deck for this game, and they might want to see how this game turns out in order to determine the importance of Week 17 before they activate him. Maybe they don't think he can help them as much right now, which may be the case. I mean, he hasn't played a ton, doesn't have a ton of experience, so they may not feel like he gives them a lot right now where he is mentally. So they may decide to go with a guy that's been around for a little while, whether that's Robert Foster, who's taken more snaps recently, been in the league. He's a veteran, so they trust him to be able to digest what's going on and be able to maybe help a little bit more from that standpoint. Or maybe they go back to Inman. He may be done. I think Inman at this point, they've seen enough out of Inman. We haven't seen him since the Steelers game. Remember, he missed a big block in that game, did Inman. I think they're done with him as far as him playing this season, unless we have a rash of injuries at that position. Speaking of which, Terry McLaurin is one that we'll talk about here in a second. We'll get to the injury report. But I said all of that to say this. I said that if Sunday he wasn't activated on Saturday and he wasn't up for this game this week, that AGG was done for the year. That is not true. They have until the 31st of December, meaning they've got up until next Thursday to make a determination on Antonio Gandy Golden, whether to bring him back this season or to just leave him on IR, ending his season. Again, I think there's a very realistic possibility with Terry being down that they may decide to activate him this week. You're down a receiver body, you bring up a guy that has been practicing all week, and you roll with him. There's another discussion that could be had, and on the other end of that discussion, you could say, hey, guy really doesn't give us anything right now. If we clinch the division, we'd love to get a look at him in Week 17. We're going to be resting a ton of guys. We'd love to see what he can provide us there, and maybe we'll decide then if he can help us in the postseason. So, just because he's not active this week, if in fact that is the case, doesn't mean he won't be back next week. But, if we don't win this game and we need it next week, that might be even more reason to say, no, we can't have Antonio Gandy Golden up because we just don't trust him right now. He hasn't played enough, doesn't know enough. We want guys that we can trust out there that know where to go, know where to be, and know exactly what we're looking for at this point of the season. So a lot of intrigue there. Nothing is going to help him but experience playing. There aren't any more mental reps that he can take that will benefit him at this point. The only reps he needs is in games now. Practice is cool, but there's nothing like game action, live bullets. So I want to see him on the field. But again, I trust the coaching staff and their assessment of where he is. And if he's not ready to contribute right now, you move forward and you see what happens next week. And if you feel the same way next week that you do this week and the week before that and the week before that, you leave him on IR and you work with him again next year. So we'll see what happens with Antonio Gandy Golden. I'm all for the youngins getting experience. That's always been my stance. So I'm hoping that he's able to play. But I did want to clarify that because John Keim, I think it was John Keim, might have been Ben Standing, one of those guys, or it could have been JP Finley. One of those guys clarified it on Twitter today, and I said, well, damn, that's exactly what I was looking for, and I need to make sure that I pass along that information because I know I had put out that he needed to be activated this week or he was done for the season. That's not true. They've got until next Thursday to make a determination on whether AGG is active for the remainder of this season or inactive and done for 2020. So we'll see what happens there. But let's get to the injury report before we talk anything else concerning this game. Let's talk about the injury report for both teams. We start with Washington. And as you can see, you've got a few guys on this list. Thomas Davis Sr., I told you, I think he's done. If they're healthy at linebacker, and I think the Michael Kendricks signing made them feel a lot more comfortable not having Thomas Davis be active this week. He was awful last week against Seattle, and he just can't do it anymore. Like, and no disrespect to Thomas Davis. He's probably been great in the locker room. He's been a vocal leader more likely than not, but he can't do it anymore. Physically, he's just incapable at this point. And so the less we see of 58, the better it is for this defense. I firmly believe that. And after seeing what we got out of a young guy last year, or last week, excuse me, in Khaleke Hudson, and now you sign Michael Kendricks and you're getting Cole Holcomb back, I think that's more than enough ammunition to feel comfortable going into war and battle without Thomas Davis Sr. being active. They've got non-injury related / knee. I think it's more non-injury related, like, hey, this guy just physically isn't what we need him to be at this point, and less of a knee. But it could be his knee too. Whatever the case may be, he's out for Sunday, and I don't think any of us will miss him on Sunday. Cole Holcomb, we already talked about this. He was a full go yesterday. He's not even listed on the injury report in terms of game status, so we know he's going to play, which is great news because that really hurt us last week, especially in the run game. The biggest news this week outside of the quarterback position has been that of Terry McLaurin, and I told you I wasn't really concerned after Wednesday. I told you Thursday was going to be the day for me. He didn't practice again. That was very concerning, and now that concern has turned into a definite worry. A very, very big worry. Terry's not playing on Sunday. That's what this says to me. He's doubtful for Sunday. And Terry's been fighting through injuries all season long, primarily this ankle that has been nagging him. He's been really gutting it out, but looks like our captain isn't going to be able to go this week. And that's big because you take away the biggest weapon we have on offense. And so we'll talk about the impact of that here in a little bit, but if Terry can't go, other guys are going to have to step up. It's as simple as that. We're going to see what happens when you take a number one receiver out of an offense that already is lacking, star quality at that particular position. We could be in some trouble. We could definitely be in some trouble this week without Terry McLaurin in the lineup, and it's looking less and less likely right now, which kind of leads me back to why it's so important that we win this football game. We'll talk about that in a second. Antonio Gibson, toe injury, limited participant today. He's questionable in this game. I don't have a ton of confidence that he's going to play in this game, to be brutally honest with you. However, I'm not going to rule him out. They didn't rule him out last week. They left him as questionable last week. He didn't play, obviously. We're in the same boat this week. He's been limited all week. I was looking for that one full participating day that I could lean on and say, hey, this guy could potentially go. Didn't get it, but that doesn't mean he won't play. I still surmise that he's not going to go in this game, but we will see. He'll be a big boost, especially with Terry being out. It'll be a massive boost if Antonio Gibson is in the lineup for this game. Morgan Moses, I've already talked about Momo. He's a warrior. I never worry about him. And so he's a full participant today. He's not even listed on the injury report. I don't worry about Momo. He gets banged up. He gets battered. He gets bruised. He always shows up for work, so I don't worry about him. KPL, questionable. He's been limited all week. I'm actually surprised that we're even at this point with him, with that ankle injury that he sustained a couple of weeks ago against San Francisco. I just thought that we wouldn't see him until week 17 at the earliest with that ankle, but doesn't seem to be that severely sprained. That being said, still no guarantees that he plays. He's also questionable in this game. Wes Schweitzer, hip injury. I told you I thought he was going to play. He's been limited all week, but he's not even listed on the injury report. So that's a great sign. He'll be in the lineup. And then obviously the elephant in the room, Alex Smith. We talked about him already at the top of the show. Calf injury, full participant on Friday. Great news. Don't know what full actually means on Christmas Day. However, full is full for me in terms of that's better than limited, which is what we've seen from Alex all week. And so now he's questionable. I would have loved to have seen probable, but it's questionable, and I think that's just to keep Carolina in doubt as to whom they're going to get at quarterback, because if you don't have to disclose that information, why do it? So I think they're trying to hold on to that advantage. I think they know, again, tomorrow's going to be huge, because if Alex, his calf responds well, I think he's your starter. They're not going to disclose that to you, to us, because they don't want to give any competitive advantage to Carolina. They need to be preparing for both quarterbacks. And so they'll know tomorrow, I think. It's a really, really big possibility that they'll know by tomorrow who's starting at quarterback on Sunday. Again, Alex could wake up on Sunday and all of a sudden, he goes out for warmups and the calf tightens up on him again. You just never know with this thing. So we'll see what happens. But we go from Washington to Carolina's injury report, and it's still promising. I think we're going to get a lot of these guys out that we thought were going to be out. Brian Burns is questionable. I thought he would be, like the rest, doubtful for this game. But he hasn't practiced all week, but they still have listed him as questionable with a knee injury. He's a huge part of their defense, their best pass rusher by far. If he can't go, that's a huge boost for this offense. Christian McCaffrey, remember, I was crying all week long. Why do we have to get McCaffrey? Well, it looks like he's not going to play. We talked about that yesterday. He did not practice again. He is doubtful. I don't see any reason why they bring Christian McCaffrey back at this point of the season. Just doesn't make any sense. And so I don't care what they do next week. If he doesn't play this week, what's the point of playing him next week? It doesn't really matter. You're 4-10 at this point. To me, no reason to bring McCaffrey back. Doesn't seem like it's going to be this week either. He is doubtful in this game. So is their tackle, Russell Okung, with a calf injury, similar to Alex Smith. Not saying it's the same injury, but just the same body part. He's dealing with a calf injury. He hasn't practiced all week. He is listed as doubtful. That's great news, because that means they're going to have to dig into their tackle bag and pull out a backup. And if that is in fact the case, that gives us an opportunity to maybe take advantage of their offensive line. Troy Pride Jr., rookie out of Notre Dame, dealing with a hip, hasn't practiced all week. He is doubtful as well. So all of those guys that we talked about, with the exception of Brian Burns, are doubtful. We thought Burns would be on that list of doubtful guys. He's questionable, but we thought this is how it would shake out in terms of the first four guys on the list. Austin Larkin, a defensive end, shoulder injury, limited all week. He's questionable. Same can be said for Bravion Roy, the defensive tackle, rookie defensive tackle out of Baylor, dealing with a knee injury. He's been limited all week. He's also questionable. The next four guys on the list, and we talked about these guys because they were full participants earlier in the week, that we thought all of these guys were going to play. And that is, in fact, the case. None of these guys are listed on the injury status of this game. Yetur Gross-Matos, rookie pass rusher out of Penn State, dealing with an ankle. He's going to go. So is the opposite pass rusher, Marquise Haynes, out of Ole Miss, who's dealing with a shoulder injury. He's full go. F.A. Obata, another defensive lineman, specifically a defensive end, with a knee injury. He's coming back with that injury. He's coming back this week. He's a full go. And wide receiver Curtis Samuel, who's been dealing with a hamstring the last couple of weeks, he is a full go and will play in this game. So that's another problem added to the list. He's a guy that is dynamic, and they use him in a multitude of ways. Adarius Taylor, linebacker, has an ankle. He's questionable after having that flare up on him on Thursday. So in any event, that's the Carolina Panthers and where they sit right now from an injury standpoint. And I tell you what, I like where we are from an injury standpoint in relation to where they are. Now, obviously, we got a quarterback situation we don't really have a handle on quite yet. Terry's out more likely than not. That's not good news. And we still don't know about Antonio Gibson, but I like the fact that their best pass rusher might not play. I love that their best player overall in Christian McCaffrey won't play. Love the fact that their left tackle probably won't play in this game. And I love the fact that one of their starting corners isn't playing potentially in this game. So a lot of good things there on the injury report. We'll see how things shake out for us on our end, but it's not looking good for Terry. And we still don't know about Alex nor Antonio Gibson. So with that said, what does Week 16 actually mean? I do want to stress this. We've talked about this already, but I need to hammer this point home once more, that Week 16 is massive, and you see why. I just showed you exactly why it is imperative that we find a way to take care of business in week 16 so that week 17 isn't a must win. It isn't a situation where you got to go in guns locked and loaded and ready to spray in week 17. Terry's banged up. Morgan Moses could use a week off. We got a quarterback that could definitely use a week off heading into the playoffs. You know, we've got a ton of guys that could use some rest. And so if we could get this win, we got a running back that we think has special talent and ability that we could use and could use a week off to continue to heal up. We got a bunch of guys that need time. Time is not on our side if we don't win this game. Week 16 is huge. It's going to be tough if Alex can't go, if Terry can't go, if Antonio Gibson can't go. It's going to be tough. Every game in this league is tough. No matter if you're at full strength or you're missing a bunch of guys, they're all tough. This one in particular, we have to find a way to overcome all of the injuries, all of the, questions that were surrounding this team earlier in the week that served as distractions. We got to overcome all of those things and find a way to put this thing away, if it is possible to put it away in week 16. Again, pending a Giants loss. We don't know what the outcome of that game is going to be, and I don't like to assume anything. But if the Ravens take care of the Giants like they're supposed to, and we've got a chance to put a wrap on this division, we need to do it in week 16. If we squander this opportunity, I don't like our chances of winning this division. I really do not. And I really don't care who's in the driver's seat at that point, whether it's the Giants or the Cowboys or the Eagles. I don't like where we sit going into week 17 if we couldn't beat a 4-10 Carolina Panthers team coming into our building with a chance, with everything on the line. I don't care who's at quarterback. I don't care what the circumstances are. If Terry's not playing, if Antonio Gibson's not playing, this game is massive, and we need to find a way to beat a 4-10 team at home. Simple as that. So this game is massive because you have a chance to lock down a home playoff game and also make week 17 irrelevant so that you can rest important guys and get ready for a playoff matchup against Seattle, Los Angeles Rams, or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You've got a chance to rest your guys and get them ready, charged up to go in Wild Card Weekend. This is how important this game is. It may put you in a position to be able to be at full strength going into the playoffs, which is the most important thing if you get there. It'd be a shame to get there and you're limping into the playoffs. This guy's out and that guy's out because they have to play in week 17. Terry has to go. Antonio Gibson has to go if he's capable. You'd hate to limp into the postseason when you can go in there feeling really good with guys feeling really good. So, week 16, I can't stress to you just how important this game is. I can't stress this enough. It's a massive game. We've got to find a way to get this one. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and get into my final outcome for this game. And I want to give you my keys to the game and then my score and more before we get out of here. So let's start with Washington's defense. I always start with the catalyst of this football team. They're the engine. They are what powers this football team. And if they don't go, we don't go. So let's start with this defense versus Carolina's offense. And the very first key to the game, I think, is a massive one. And really all of these are big keys, but I think this one is the biggest of them all from a defensive standpoint. No cheapies. No cheapies. All right, no freebies, no easy ones. We gave up a cheapie last week, and it cost us dearly. You give up a 50-yard run to start the second half for a touchdown, and it comes back to bite you right in your ass. You lose this game by 5 points, and who knows what happens if you stop him on that run. You had an opportunity to do it. Ronald Darby is standing right there in the hole, misses the tackle. He goes for 50 yards. Poor angle, pursuit angle by safety Jeremy Reeves. He slips and falls. He wasn't going to tackle him anyway. He took such a poor angle. Out the gate, touchdown. What happens if you hold them on the next set of downs? If that tackle is made by Ronald Darby? What happens if Jeremy Reeves takes a better angle and instead of it being a 50-yard run, it's a 14-yard run and you get a stop on the next set of downs and they got to kick a field goal, and they miss. Or they make it, and they don't score any more points, which is they didn't score the rest of the game. And you got a chance to beat them 18-16, something like that. If the rest of the game went the way that it did, you still have a chance to kick a walk-off field goal in that situation. Instead, you had to score a touchdown. Other circumstances put you in that position where you needed a touchdown instead of a field goal, but still, can't give up the cheapies. And so I can't stress this enough. That's been one of our biggest problems this season is we give up big plays. We don't give up a bunch of drives that result in touchdowns. We give up big plays, though. At least one or two a game. Gave up 2 big ones last game, if you're talking 30 yards or more. But this Panthers offense, to me, isn't capable of consistently stringing together 13-play, 82, 11-play, 75-yard drives that result in touchdowns. That's not their MO. They've had some quick strikes this year. They've got some dynamic players. They've got guys with elite speed, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, Curtis Samuel. All of them can run. Which leads me right into my next key to the game. Tackle, tackle, tackle. Okay? We didn't tackle well last week. I wasn't pleased with Cameron Curl's ability to tackle. I thought a lot of guys were slipping and sliding all over the place. The field, was a little slick. Whatever. That's not an excuse. Get guys on the ground. We didn't do a good enough job, I didn't think, last week of getting their physical running back. And we're going to see another physical back this week in Mike Davis. I didn't think we did a good enough job of getting their physical back on the ground last week. I thought we saw too many shoulder attempts that were run through, too many guys slipping and sliding, falling down and giving up more yards. I didn't think it was one of our better days getting guys on the ground last week. And so that can't happen this week. Why? Because the Panthers are among the best in the league at yards after the catch. Their guys catch the football and make something happen because they run a similar offense to the one we run. And not because Scott Turner came from there, but because that's what they do with Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback. He's an underneath passer. He's the black Alex Smith. We've already gone through this already. It's like looking in the mirror. They're a young team. We're a young team. First year head coach, first year head coach. Black Alex Smith, white Alex Smith. The only difference is at receiver, they've got more weapons than we do, on the offensive side. And so they can hurt you in a multitude of ways, but their guys catch slants and run. Their guys jet sweep. They catch the wide receiver screen. They get their guys out in space. Short passes, and then those guys do the rest. Robbie Anderson is among the fastest receivers in the league. If you don't get him on the ground and he gets going, hard to catch up with him. Same can be said for DJ Moore, who turns into a running back a lot of times once he has the football in his hands. We've got to do a really good job of getting these guys on the ground before they get started. If we don't tackle well, they're going to hurt us, and they're going to hurt us big. And we can't afford that in this game. We can't give them confidence. We can't give them easy scores. We have to make them earn everything that they get. Because you're one Montez Sweat batted ball or one Daron Payne batted ball in the air away from picking a pass off and ending a drive. Anything can happen. So you don't want to give it up. Make them earn it. Got to tackle. Didn't think we tackled all that well last week. Contain Teddy-O. Teddy! All right? Contain Teddy in this game. I've been probably most surprised by Teddy Bridgewater's ability to run the football this year. He's been awesome when he tucks in and runs this year. I didn't know he had some of that ability in him. I knew he had some athleticism. I knew there were some wheels there. I didn't know he had some shakes. I didn't know he had the spin. And I didn't know he had the ability to be that dynamic with the football in his hands as a runner. I've been really surprised by how effective he's been using his legs this season. That being said, we've struggled with the mobile quarterback this year. That's been one of our biggest bugaboos and pet peeves this year is a mobile quarterback that doesn't mind tucking in and running when he doesn't like what he sees. We struggled early in the season with Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray. We've struggled recently with Russell Wilson, and we'll struggle with Teddy Bridgewater if we don't have gap integrity and rush lane discipline. We got out of our rush lanes last week. We were slipping and sliding like we were on slip and slides, and Russell Wilson made us pay. Hell, even Andy Dalton blessed us in that Thanksgiving game a few times in some third down situations at that. We've got to be able to contain Teddy Bridgewater and keep him in the damn pocket. If we don't, he'll run. He has no problems tucking in and running. He's shown that this season, and that's what scares me. If we don't get it done this week, you got Jalen Hurts waiting for your ass next week, and he definitely is not afraid to tuck it and run. So I really would like to get this one, and one of the ways you're going to get it is if you can keep Teddy Bridgewater in the pocket, contain him, and not allow him to extend plays with his legs. Finally, on the defensive side of the football, get off the field on third downs, and I just need one turnover. I don't need a boatload of them, because if Alex Smith plays, I think we're going to remain clean this game. We're going to take care of the football, and we're not going to turn it over. And if you don't turn it over and you're able to force one, I think that's all you'll need to get it done in this game. I think 2 is very doable. I really do think we can force multiple turnovers in this game, but all I'm looking for is 1. But the biggest key is not looking for the turnover necessarily, but just get off the field on third downs. How important that is. I didn't think we did a good job of that last week, in particular in the first half against Seattle. We did a much better job of that, obviously, in the second half. After the 50-yard run, they didn't score another point, and they didn't really threaten to score at any point other than the drive in which we forced the interception. And even then, they were still, driving. They hadn't quite gotten into field goal range yet. So we did a tremendous job of shutting things down in the second half, which is our MO. But I think we need to come out faster this week and get off the field on third downs. We had the Seahawks, after Dwayne Haskins threw an interception, the Seahawks started a drive 1st and 10 from their own 3-yard line. And we had 3 third down opportunities to get off the field, and Seattle converted every single one of them and ultimately drove the football the length of the field and got points. So we've got to get off the field on third downs, and it needs to start in the first half. We can't wait till the second half to decide, all right, now we want to get stops and get off the field. If we get the Panthers in 3rd and 3, I don't care how short it is, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, we've got to find a way off the field. And if we've got them pinned deep in their own territory, get the football back to the offense in great field position. The only way you're going to do that is one of 2 ways. You're either going to force a turnover, or you're going to force a punt deep in your own territory. It'd be great if the special teams had a great return of a punt, but we know not to look for those things. Get stops on third downs. That's going to be important, not just in the second half, which we've come to expect, but also in the first half. That would be nice too. Let's start this game fast. Let's not wait to the second half to turn it up. Turn it up on these boys early. Let them know who's in charge. Come out and establish yourself so that they don't think they have a chance. I don't think it's going to be that type of party. I don't think we're going to just run away and hide with this game. The Panthers, when I look at them, I see a team that fights hard. They got a first-year head coach that simply does not give a shit about us winning a division on his watch. He's coaching these guys up. I'm watching them every week, and he's coaching them like they're playing in the Super Bowl. So I know they're going to come out. They're going to play hard. And he's going to use his timeouts wisely. He's an analytics guy. They're going to play to win this football game. We've got to come out, and we've got to play clean ball, and we've got to get off the field on third downs. So we transition from the defense to the offense. Washington's offense versus Carolina's defense. Protect the Duke. To me, this is by far and away the biggest key to the game offensively, because if we can't take care of the football, we're in trouble. That's what got last week. We don't have the 2 interceptions last week. I firmly believe we beat the Seattle Seahawks. I firmly believe that. One of those possessions definitely results in a field goal attempt. Now, will we make it? I don't know. Hard to say. I have confidence in Dustin. I know a lot of you don't, and that's fine. You have every right to not believe in him. But you take a scoring opportunity off the board. And again, the first interception was on a 2nd down. And so you had another down after that to potentially pick up a 1st down and continue the drive. And the second interception came on a 1st down as you entered into Seahawks territory and felt good about what you were doing on that drive. So, again, we have to take care of the football. can't stress that enough. When we take care of the football, when we're not turning it over, when we win the turnover battle, we're a tough team to deal with. We won the turnover battle against the Pittsburgh Steelers. We won the football game. We won the turnover battle against San Francisco. We won the football game. All right, when we win the turnover battle, we're tough to deal with. Take care of the football. You're not going to win it every single week. I'm aware of this. But if you limit the amount of mistakes, you take care of the football, you really heighten your chances. With the way we play defense, you heighten your chances of winning a ball game. Be balanced is the next key. I think it doesn't really matter who's at quarterback, whether it's Alex, whether it's Dwayne. I don't think we can be in a position where we see another 55 attempt game from our quarterback. We've seen a couple of those this season where our quarterbacks have thrown it way too many times. And a lot of times we're down big in those games. Obviously, Detroit comes to mind. Alex threw the football, every bit of 50, 5 times in that game, almost threw for 400 yards. But we were down 24-3. Last week, Dwayne throws it 55 times. I didn't think that had to take place, honestly speaking. We weren't down 20-3 the entire first half. We were down 6-0 most of the first half. They scored the touchdown to take the lead 13-0 at the end of the first half. So, to me, and in the second half, yeah, they were up 20-3. But even then, I still thought there could be more runs mixed in. We just have to be more balanced. Simply put, this is why it's important and imperative to get off to a much faster start in this game, because I don't want to see the disparity in run and pass in this game like we did last week. We've got to be able to establish the run game, and we've got to be able to keep our quarterbacks from feeling like they need to go out and win us the game. Whether Antonio Gibson plays or not, whether it's J.D. McKissic out there along with Peyton Barber, I really don't care at this point. We need to be able to run the football. We have to remain balanced in this game. I really firmly believe that. We cannot side heavily with, overly aggressive through the air. If we're lopsided on the run, and that usually means we are winning and we were winning big and we decided to go to the run game, I'm all for it. As a matter of fact, I'd love to see that take place. Get up on these boys 24-3 and take the air out of the thing and shorten the game. Speaking of which, we'll talk about that a little bit later on, but be balanced. That's how we start this thing, is be balanced. And if it starts to shift towards the run game because you're up, I'm all for it. Spread the rock. So we talked about Terry McLaurin's injury, and the likelihood of him playing is slim to none at this point. He's doubtful. With him out, you got to spread it around. Logan Thomas has been huge of late. J.D. McKissic is always a welcoming target for the quarterback, but it just can't be a two-man show between those two. Don't think that other teams aren't watching film, haven't seen the emergence of Logan Thomas, haven't seen that J.D. McKissic is a security blanket for whomever's at quarterback. You're going to have to get other guys involved. This might be a Steven Sims or an Isaiah Wright or a Cam Sims type of week. Somebody's going to have to step up. We're going to need guys to step up. And it may be all of them. It might be 4 for Steven Sims. It might be 3 for Isaiah Wright. And it might be 4 for Cam Sims. And if that's the way it's got to be, so be it. We have to spread it around, though. In Terry's absence, I'm not looking for one guy to just step up. Some of you may, hey, Cam Sims is going to have a big game. Bullshit. Let's spread it around. It doesn't have to be one guy. No one guy on this team is capable of filling Terry's shoes. But as a team, collectively, if we spread it around and everybody does their part, we'll be just fine. Spread the rock around. The Panthers are a young defensive unit, prone to making mistakes. I watched Drew Lock throw for 4 touchdown passes and win in Carolina a couple of weeks ago. You can do some things against this defense, but you got to be smart. They got playmakers. So spread it around. If Terry doesn't play, don't key in on one guy. Spread the rock around. JD get his, Logan gets his, Cam, Steven, and Isaiah Wright. Everybody gets some. And then lastly, shorten the game and leave no points on the field. So I talked about being balanced, and if we can get up and take the air out of the football, that'd be preferable. I don't want this to be a 3-hour and 27-minute game. When the game is lengthened, usually it's in the favor of the better team. The longer the game goes, the team that's better usually has a better chance, which is why a lot of people were up in arms with Washington when they decided to go for 2 versus the Giants the first time around in week 6. Why? Because if we take that game to overtime, we felt like we were the better team. Hence, going to overtime favors us. We were dominating in the second half. I understand that argument. I wanted to win the game right then and there. I didn't know we were going to ultimately be this bad on 2-point conversions. We're 0 of 5 right now. If you would have given me that information then, I would, hell no, kick the extra point. Let's go to overtime. Anyway, I said all of that to say this. I want to shorten this game. The shorter the game, the better it is, I feel like, for us. Get in, get out, try to get out of here with no injuries, and take these boys out. Now, obviously, a shorter game doesn't benefit us if they get on top of us, and now it's a race against the clock to try to catch up before it's too late. But I'm hoping that we are the team that jumps out early. We are the team that seizes control of this game and are able. I want this to feel like not necessarily how the Cincinnati Bengals game went, but I want this to feel similar to that game or the Dallas game the first time around, where you're in control from start. You know, the Dallas game in particular was one of the few games. Let's be honest. This is the only game we were in control from start to finish. It was the Dallas game the first time around. The Dallas game the second time around was the biggest disparity in terms of score, but that was a 23-16 game in the fourth quarter. 20-16, as a matter of fact. Excuse me. 20-16 game in the fourth quarter with 12 minutes left before the Cowboys did what they did. So I would like this game to mirror what that Cowboys game the first time around was. You start fast, you dominate, you're up big at halftime, you cruise in the second half, you shorten the game with the run game, you bleed clock, and you get out of there. No mess, no fuss. Let's just get out of there. I'd love to do that if we can. And then leave no points on the field. I really believe this is going to be a game in which field goals are going to be important. You know, if you don't want to sweat at the end of the game, if you don't want to find yourself in a position where, you know, you're chasing points or it comes down to this or that, don't miss any kicks. I'm talking to Dustin this week. You my guy. I've been protecting you this entire time. As I've stated to you, and you know this, you know what I'm about to say. I'm going to say it anyway. I can't help you. I can't protect you if you don't make kicks. If you continue to miss, there's not much I can say in your defense. I can't make excuses for you when you don't deliver. The Steelers game gave me more ammunition to say, hey, see, he can do this. I need another one of those. And this is the biggest game of the season. If you could deliver one of those types of performances, it will go a long way in getting people back on your side and getting back in the good graces of a lot of these fans. I could use one of those 3-for-3 type games. And I think it's going to take a 3-for-3 or a 4-for-4 in this game to take us where we want to go. I'm going to need you to step up. We cannot leave points on the scoreboard. Not an extra point, not a field goal, none of it. I need all of them. If we drive 67 yards and the drive stalls out, I need you to deliver. If we drive 48 yards and the drive stalls out and it's a 53-yard field goal, I need that too. We can't have a 12-play, 78-yard drive capped off with a 2-yard Peyton Barber run for a touchdown and then you miss the extra point. I need every single point that is available on the field for this team to be put on the scoreboard. Don't leave any on the field. So, and that's how you shorten the game. Take advantage of your opportunities and get up big and then take the air out of the football. So, those are my keys to the game. I said all of that to say this. This is how I see this game turning out. I think we're the better team here. Both of these teams coming to the game banged up, but I like our chances, man. I think we know what's at stake. We want to get this one for Ron. I think the players understand that this is a big one for Ron, whether he tries to downplay it or not. Listening to the players this week talk about, you know, the impact of this game and what it means in the standings, potentially they're going to know what's going on as they head into the game. Now, the Giants game may not be over. We got a 4:05 start. If we had a 4:25 start, we pretty much know what was going on in the Giants game. But because we start at 4:05, they'll be on the field by the time the Giants game is over. However, they'll have a sense, unless that game is 27-24, and with 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and they just can't watch the rest of the game. They'll know if that game's 30-13, Baltimore's up. They'll know. All right, this is for the division. Let's go out here and take care of business. They'll already know. So I think they're going to take care of business. They know what's at stake. And look, if you can't beat, and I hate saying this because we aren't the team that should be saying it. I'm not going to say it because I don't feel that way about us yet. I don't feel that way. I don't feel good enough to fix my lips to say that. We just need to win this football game. I don't want week 17 to have the season be on the line. I'm not comfortable with the Eagles where they are right now. If Carson Wentz were playing, I feel a lot better about week 17 if we were to need that. Jalen Hurts showed me something last week. And he may not continue that this week against Dallas. He may continue it against Dallas. I just know I really don't want the smoke. I want all the smoke next year. I'm not afraid of these guys. I just want to make something clear. With the way we're set up right now, with injuries and questions and concerns, I just don't want to go into that game needing that game. I'd love to be able to go into that game saying, hey, whatever happens, happens. We already got this thing sewn up like a tailor. Relatively easy, like Jerry Heller. The drop is cherry vanilla. You know what I'm saying? Take care of business. 26-16. 4 Dustin Hopkins field goals. Not pretty. Not ideal. You'd like to finish off more of those drives with touchdowns. But I think you're going to see Dustin Hopkins be active in this football game. And I think ultimately his ability to deposit points onto the scoreboard is going to propel us to this victory. It's going to be, I think, close early. But you're not going to see one of those games where we're down early. Big, at least. We may jump down. We might be down 3-0 early in this game, but I think at halftime we're up 13-3 in this ball game. I think they scored a touchdown to start the second half because I think we're going to lose the toss, and it's going to be 13-10, and we're going to be in a dogfight. And then Dustin Hopkins, he's going to make 2 straight field goals to make it 19-10. All right, so you're feeling good. You're up 2 scores, but then Carolina is going to score a touchdown. They're going to miss the extra point, and that's going to make it 19-16. So they're down 3, and we're going to put together an excellent drive in the fourth quarter that spans 7 minutes, eats up a bunch of clock, and it's the kind that you look at and you say, that's playoff football right there. We're going to grind it out. We're going to score that touchdown. We're going to take the lead, tack on the extra point, 10-point lead, and that's where it's going to stand at the end, 26-16 over the Panthers to clinch the NFC East, because I strongly believe the Ravens are going to take care of the Giants. Again, we don't know that to be a fact, but if the Giants are to lose, I think this game gets us the NFC East. And what a journey it would be from 2-7, down in the dumps, sitting there looking at your quarterback situation. You've already gone through Dwayne. You've already gone through Kyle Allen. Here comes Alex Smith. He's on one leg. He looked terrible against the Rams in his only showing. There's no way this guy can come in and help. He comes in against the Giants, almost brings us back, but throws 2 back-breaking interceptions, ultimately 3 on the day. Doesn't look all that great down the stretch. It does it again in Detroit, brings us all the way back, throws for damn near 400 yards, and you're like, whoa. Is this what we're getting from Alex Smith? But you still lose that game and you're 2-7, and then you run off 4 straight, and you get to 6-7, and he's playing good football. He's not playing elite ball, but he's being the Alex Smith that we know and we come to know and love. And here's a chance. Here's a chance to really be able to reflect with a smile on this season, because if we don't win this division, for as good as of a season, because you have to understand that this has been a really positive season. But if you don't win the division, you can't reflect on this season with a smile. We got to win this game. And I think they understand it, and I think they will. I think there'll be a sense of urgency in this football game from the fellas on Sunday. And as I've mentioned already, they want this one from Ron. I think there is a little bit of that too. They're going to play just a tinge harder for Ron Rivera, and I think they're going to get it done. And at the end of this game, there'll be a Gatorade bath waiting for the newest head coach of the Washington football team in his first year, leading this team to a division crown. Oh, how sweet that would be. Hopefully we get that on Sunday. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T. I thank you guys for joining me, especially taking a little bit of your time on this Christmas day to join me, whether you're watching this on Christmas Day or you're watching it the day after or the day before the game, whatever the case may be. I really do appreciate you. I can't thank you enough for all that you do for the LouieTeeNetwork. And again, Merry Christmas to you and yours from me and mine. I can't begin to explain to you just how great of a year this has actually been, despite all of the trials and tribulations with the team, with COVID-19, and how it's, altered our lives. We're embarking upon a big milestone potentially in the first year of Ron Rivera as the coach of this team. And who would have thought, with COVID-19 and all the limited abilities of this team early in the season and no off season, no training camp, or mini camps and things of that nature, and all these young players and all the things that we've gone through this year, cancer and all of the stuff in the tabloids and all of the Washington Post articles and all the stuff with Daniel Snyder, the lawsuits and the fighting over the stake in this team, majority versus minority, and all this shit that we've gone through. We can flush it all with one win on Sunday. Isn't that amazing? But the fellas got to go out and make it happen. We need the Ravens to take care of business first. Whatever happens in that game shouldn't impact how you feel about this game. Whether the Giants upset the Ravens and end their bid to make the postseason or not, we still need to win regardless. Period. End of discussion. Hopefully the win clinches the division, but if it doesn't, it puts us in the driver's seat to do that in week 17. Either way, we need to win. I'm your man Louie T, signing off. I thank you guys for joining me. This has been Washington Football Nightly. I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.
Here comes the diesel. Here comes the diesel. There's the snap, hand to Riggins. Good hold. He's got the first down to the 40. He's gone. The 35, the 30, the 20. He's gone. He's gone. Touchdown.